Well, I'm joined this morning by Simon Brown, who's the Managing Director of Amazon Ground Care. And I suppose now it's more pertinent than ever to say, how are you? More than it would normally have been in the past.
Yeah, probably relieved is the answer to that then, Scott. Really, that we've sort of, I don't know, seem to have come through maybe the worst of it. And business has probably boomed, if rather than maybe gone backwards.
Mm-hmm. It's at the start of it, come March time, we obviously prioritised healthcare and that side of things to, quite rightly, to a great degree. But in many ways, a lot of the people who were using your machines were regarded as key workers as well. So they were out there using the machines during lockdown. Perhaps the people who had the power to buy the machines weren't given that opportunity, but that's a strange one. The machines were still out there, but we were still working.
Yeah, I think the key thing the key decision we made early on was that service and parts supply was paramount to maintain. So we put sort of provisions in place so that we could work safely with our team internally, but we could provide a full parts and service backup. We've kept people working. The lockdown sort of obviously started really right at the peak grass growing season. And therefore, obviously the kit was out there in the field working, and we needed to keep it going. So, we were able to supply parts and service right way through through lockdown, hopefully then that's obviously kept our customers satisfied, really.
Mm-hmm. I understand you didn't follow any staff in Doncaster.
We did mainly, really, I think, because we're sort of. The actual team itself is relatively small, and we all sort of play a part. And even the sales guys for ground care, I think the dealer and the end customer were focused probably on thinking about the future, because they've got nothing else perhaps than to do in the immediate time. So they were looking at systems and trying to change the way they looked at grass management and green space management. And I say that the sales guys were incredibly busy, sort of handling inquiries on the phone. We still did a few demonstrations where it was possible. And I say, I think we've actually probably used that time wisely, and I think that's probably now paid off with some orders really coming through. Just the sort of groundwork that was done in those early days, really.
Well, that perhaps covers something that I'm going to talk about next. It would have taken a high-class crystal ball to have anticipated what we'd be going through, even from Christmas time, January even, onwards. But is there anything, knowing what we know now, that you would change with regard to the working practices within Amazon Ground Care at all?
I suppose you have to think of, can we work maybe a little bit cuter, maybe generally? Are we actually, travelling and sort of rushing around the country unnecessarily? Can we actually work smarter? Obviously, the impact on sort of people, people's well-being in terms of hours spent behind the wheel, and impact, I suppose, on environment of all those miles necessarily. So. Maybe we've learned a little bit from that we could actually probably say work smarter maybe in the future and still achieve the same results.
That's something that what you've just said there reiterates something I heard from another managing director, that a couple of things. One, that you wouldn't see the salesman out on the road to the same extent, and two, just-in-time production practices may have to be amended. Particularly, I think the guy I was speaking to is in a similar situation to you, that they have a partner company in France. And that was causing supply problems, and they may have to look at how maybe storing more parts on site rather than having the just-in-time method in action.
We suffered quite badly at the French factory with COVID-19, and we ended up with weeks then shut, sort of quite early on at the start of the sort of pandemic. We were relatively well stocked with most machines here at Doncaster that we were able to still deliver. Parts wise, we are lucky in some ways that we have more than one source of parts. So we have the French factory supplying parts, but we also have the German head World Parts Centre also able to supply parts. Plus, we probably pick in the early 90s first pick rate, 90% plus first pick rate here. So it's not often that we do get caught out from Doncaster unless it's very unusual and sort of fairly slow moving. Most sort of parts for immediate sort of need a dispatch from here overnight anyway. So I think what we've learned over the last few years is that just-in-time delivery is very good, but it's dictated by how buoyant the market is. And you only need 2 or 3 countries to come on stream and wipe out, production offtake for a few months. So generally speaking, we'll keep a reserve here of what we think we're going to want for the next 6 months, and live off that and keep topping that up so that we're not actually taking an order and then waiting for it to be built. But generally we can supply from stock, or we know we've got one in the pipeline that's going to be coming in 2 or 3 weeks that we can call upon. So there's a bit of loading issue as well down at the factory, where we were struggling to actually get lorries loaded in terms of dispatch, but that settled down and they dispatch bay up before they actually opened the main factory. And yeah, as I say, I think everybody within the Amazon group, both ag and ground care, have worked, a real sterling effort to keep the show on the road, to be honest with you.
Did you feel, as MD, do you feel an added responsibility to ensure that every COVID job was covered, everything you could possibly do to make sure all your staff were as safe as possible was carried out thoroughly throughout the factory and the organisation? Yeah, I mean, certainly here in the UK, we sort of probably went to the degree beyond to start with, maybe, and then sort of looked at what we'd implemented, and then perhaps sort of ease things back again. For us, that sort of initial decision was that we would protect the parts supply, and sort of effectively then sort of make Orchard Farm a bit of a fortress and keep people off the premises wherever possible, and then obviously then put in the usual sort of safe measures, and social distancing wasn't really too much of a problem. We have quite a big facility with very few people in it, so social distancing isn't still a problem to us, to be honest with you. On there we have 37 acres, I think, in total, so we can lose a few people generally. So as I say, and then we sort of we brought all the field guys immediately off the road, and they were then home working. And then as I say, as things have sort of changed a little bit, service-wise, then we were still putting service engineers out in the field, but again, no tractor cab sharing or anything like that. We were sort of, but we took the decision that probably outdoors, we were relatively able to put safe practice in place. Not sharing a car, for instance, whatever, going direct on a one-to-one and so on. No hotel accommodation, etc., etc. And as I say, to be honest with you, then, touch wood, that those decisions early on paid off within the factory themselves. Again, put in place very early on smoking practice, and as I say, with the exception of the French factory being shut for those 3 weeks, now back in full production. The ag plants have actually kept going in Germany, throughout. Mm-hmm. And strangely, it's, we have sort of coped with supplies from third-party suppliers across the world. Obviously, we rely on hydraulic components and valves and electronics from various people. And I have to say that those deliveries have been maintained pretty well, really, throughout. Good. So, again, obviously, maybe that's prudent purchasing on our behalf. Maybe that we've got enough stock to sort of keep us going. Or maybe the choice of partner that we're dealing with that have got the ability maybe to put safe practice in place, but we haven't really struggled too much for components either, to be honest with you. Now, it must have been doubly frustrating for you, having not long prior to lockdown, I brought out the Profi Hopper, Or
The new 1500.
New 1500,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's having this wonderful piece of machinery out there, and then having all impetus put a halt on must be a bit frustrating for you.
Yes, absolutely. We've got high hopes for the machine itself. Its performance is, it's in a different league compared with the old PH 1250 or the existing 1250. We were sort of going into different markets, maybe with that machine, perhaps more local authority where bigger outputs, bigger work rates, faster road speed from job to job were sort of key. And that sort of local authority market was probably one of the ones, maybe worse hit in terms of being a chance to demonstrate or get in front of the right people within local authorities. Again, we've tried to keep the demonstration program going. We have delivered some PH 1500s now since lockdown, and with the sort of the impetus is back on a little bit now, and Richard and Hugh, then they're both out now again, actively demonstrating the product, and say we are delivering 2 or 3 machines this week, in fact.
Good. And looking forward, difficult again. We talked about predicting. It's a very dangerous thing to attempt to do. But your thoughts for the next 6 months, 12 months? How do you think things will be going?
I think the way grass is actually mown and collected, I think, is probably changing. We're seeing more and more emphasis on cut and collect, and I think also more and more people looking for a machine that can do more than one task. Who seems to have opened a few doors, I think, for us, maybe in terms of sort of how it's, because we are very much a cut and collect company, be it groundkeeper on the tractor mounted machinery range or the Profi Hopper. And I think the ability to cut and collect maybe also in less perfect conditions means that the Profi Hopper can be used sort of, like we've had a sort of fairly wet weekend, obviously this weekend. It doesn't take much before the Profi Hopper will be back collected again, compared with perhaps other systems on the market. So I think we have something a little bit unique. We have something a little bit that's, say, in its own little niche market. And hopefully, as I say, we're seeing a trend towards utilising that technology. We're relatively confident. We're not, we aren't a full line ground care business. We offer a very specific range of machinery that appeals obviously then to local authorities, to golf, to domestic, even to private houses, stately homes and so on. So it's, as I say, it's wide ranging, but it's still relatively small. And I think the trend tends to be, I think, possibly going in our favour, but who knows at the end of the day. A lot of these purchases are not essential at the end of the day. They are perhaps then a nice to have, not to have. And we have to, row with that demand or not. In terms of working practices and the way that the COVID job sort of goes on for the next 6 months, I have to say I don't see any change really in what we're doing in August to what we will be doing in October, November, or even into January, February. To be honest, I think the way that we work and the precautions that we'll be taking and the care that we'll be taking will continue. And the key thing for us, obviously, is to try to maintain customer service at the same time as staying safe.
Now, your Amazon has been around an awful lot longer than another certain Amazon who's out there. Yeah. Now, be honest. Have you ever had a flight upgrade when you said you were the head of Amazon? Or have you ended up with Jeff Bezos' mail in your desk?
What we tend to do is we tend to get the flight upgrade because of our EasyJet ties, not because of the. So we got some staff discount at the airport then because they thought we were working for EasyJet. We often sort of walk on the plane and think we'll be sort of actually pushed forward to the cockpit, not actually back into the fuselage. And we'll actually be driving rather than actually flying. But I think the Amazon job is difficult. I would get probably 5 or 6 emails a day of people wanting to know where their parcel is and why they didn't take place and so on, because we seem to be more accessible. Our customer service seems to be more accessible than theirs does. We'll get phone calls here in Doncaster. We'll get emails regularly. People that don't think that perhaps their services have been up to standard, and
but you were there as an Amazon. You were there first.
We were there about 100 years before them. Yes, yeah. And we were online. We were online about 15 years before them as well. I mean, we were sort of very early into the internet job back in the early 90s. Say we've sort of our online presence has been there certainly as long as they have.
Oh well, I bet you wouldn't mind Jeff Bezos' pay packet though.
I think he probably comes with a few issues as well, though. Maybe is it?
Smashing. Well, great to speak to you, Simon. I've enjoyed it, and thanks very much, and good luck to you and everybody else at the factory going forward.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, great to talk.